aviators who conducted this operation, and it was perhaps more complicated than normal people like me might have imagined.
It actually was. You wouldn't think it. You would think that a balloon would be really easy to pop and just drop the thing down. But so much of the targeting capacities of our modern weapons use heat signatures. And, a balloon floating up at 65,000 feet doesn't have a lot of heat signature to it. So it was actually a little bit of skill to be able to make that Sidewinder missile find its target.
And, of course, the timing of it.
Yes, of course. They when it was sitting over Billings, Montana, and over our Air Force base there, over some of our strategic missile silos, I think there was a lot of interest in having it knocked down then. It's neither here nor there whether they could have done it over a sparsely populated area, but for whatever reason, they chose to take the maximum security and wait until it was over the water off the coast of South Carolina, and that's exactly what happened.
And no doubt it was important to the US that this was executed in an effective and efficient and no-fuss sort of a way, because that puts them more likely to be on the front foot when it comes to resuming the question of US-Sino relations.
Well, I certainly hope so. As I've been saying from the beginning here, this is an unfortunate issue. It's not the first time this has happened. It's not the first time there's been a Chinese balloon over American territory, and it's been dealt with in the past and moved on. I believe that there are so many really important, meaningful issues between China and the United States that need to be dealt with in an urgent manner to keep the situation from deteriorating any further, especially as we talk about the potential for military conflict over Taiwan. I regret that Secretary Blinken canceled this meeting. I would have rather that him gone on to the mission on schedule. He could have raised the issue. He could have, had stern diplomatic representations and all that. But then he could have dealt with the issues that are more important, that actually matter to American national security interest. And I do hope that they reschedule that at a very soon date.
You say the matters that are important and should be on the agenda, which are what?
Well, there's the fact that the United States and China have both been on military escalation over the potential issue of Taiwan has been very clear and very boisterous and open from both sides, where the United States, for example, just days ago signed a deal with the Philippines to expand the use of 4 additional military bases there. They've opened a new Marine base for the first time in 70 years on Guam. They've expanded the capacities on our Japanese bases. China, on its side, has also been expanding the number of air flights it has in and near the airspace of Taiwan. They've been sending more fighter jets up to the territory. They've been sending more ships in the water. And, of course, we continue to do freedom of navigation operations. And all of this seems to keep ratcheting up the tensions. And we need to get, a fine line of understanding and communications to make sure that none of these turn into some kind of even inadvertent accidental escalation that could potentially end up in an armed conflict, which would be catastrophic for everybody's needs.
I see. And how do you think these talks are now going to take place, and how important are they? Because, as you rightly point out, although there seems to be a thawing more recently of relations, the broader picture is one of increased tension.
Well, it is, and that's why I was grateful that Secretary Blinken had scheduled this meeting. I think he should have done more. As I understand, this would have been his first one since President Biden took over, and I think that's been a little late in coming. But then, on the other hand, you also, on the other side of this equation, you have to wonder, why did China choose this moment to send that balloon? Just literally hours before Blinken would otherwise have gotten on his plane to come over there. You wonder, why would China risk this? Because they obviously knew we would see this, that we would be tracking it all the way, and that it might be coming up right before this happened, before the scheduled visit.
But just briefly, you don't.
What happens? Yeah.
You don't buy the Chinese line that it was a mistake.
No, there's virtually no chance that that's the case. And the fact that it stopped and hovered over our Air Force base and then over our nuclear missile silos, that can't be an accident.
Thank you very much.